Hey guys, Evan's here. I'm normally saying at Senior Fit, but as you can see, I'm at home. It's a little later at night. But I finally tied down one of my former clients from probably close to 10 years ago, if not, yeah,
I
about
think
10 years
more.
ago. Yeah,
Really?
maybe, yeah, about 10 years now. Maybe just almost a little bit more. But yeah, about 10 years now, which is really
Mhm.
cool. But in those 10 years, she's had some pretty phenomenal things happen with her in her fitness and her journey. So, Cami, I want you to introduce yourself, let them know a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then I'll kind of ask you some questions on here.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cami. A lot of people know me as Cami Bodied Mafia, which is my fitness title or name, if you want to call me that. I am a personal trainer. And as Evan said, I met him, I think it was probably like 12 years ago or 15 years now. It's been a long time. When I was at my heaviest and I was kind of lost and wanted to get on my journey of fitness and just getting in a healthier lifestyle. And now, many years later, I'm doing the same for the women that I train today. So,
That's pretty cool. So, talk about it. So, you're a client. It was about 10 years in that space. You were coming down to Dover from
yeah,
Wilmington at
yep,
that time. I think I met you and your mom. You know,
right.
initially, we
Good
did.
memory.
Yeah. We actually did. I think your first consultation was in Dr. Wilson's office, and then after that, we had that little private gym that we had subleased out of, and then we were working out that gym in that space. So I'm not going to put your before and after pictures up here, but
Woo!
your clients would
I
have
was a lot
everything you
heavier.
were. Yeah. So you've come down. I think you're down over 60 pounds
Yeah.
from from there. So talk to us. So walk us through your fitness journey. What are some things you've experienced in your journey, and then we're going to flip gears a little bit and talk about what you're seeing and how you're helping people today.
So I think when I met you, I was probably like, I want to say 268, maybe even 272. I can't remember the exact amount. I just know I was at my heaviest. I was always a thick child, um, fluctuating with my weight. I would like to say, I used to tell people I could gain as fast as I could lose. But I had gotten to a point where I was so big that I was so heavy that I just kind of felt discouraged. I didn't know how to train on my own in a gym, just lots of different things. And then I came to you. I don't remember how I found you, to be very honest. That was many moons ago. And when I came to you, it was pretty simple, but I think the problem was I wasn't mentally ready. And I feel like you have to mentally be ready. So while I came to you, I feel like I didn't really have as much success. Nothing on your part. It was on
Mhm.
my part because, as we both know, the client has to do their part, right? If I'm
Mhm.
not home eating the right stuff, I'm not going to get the results that I need to get. So as much as you were guiding me, I don't remember if I did drop a little bit, but I didn't really. I wasn't there.
Yeah, you dropped
Um,
about 30 pounds.
did I drop 30 pounds with you?
Mhm.
I can't remember. That was so.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I guess I did not too bad.
Yeah.
um, but
But then you
still,
regained the
I
weight. You said later. You said that in that time, so you had lost the weight, and then by the time we reconnected years later, you had said you had regained weight and then lost it again.
right. So I okay. So that's probably what it is. So yes. Okay. So you have to refresh me. Um, yeah, I gained it back, and I think I started just going to like group training classes, and I just made up this mind that I was tired of feeling the way I felt. I didn't like how I looked. I wasn't confident. I had other health issues, so I started breaking out with hives and just all these issues that growing up I never was like a sick child or an unhealthy child. I never had diabetes or any of that things. And I remember I went to the doctor and the doctor says, you're borderline to become a diabetic because, of the way
Mhm.
my lifestyle. So I decided to just start. And I think I started with just trying to watch what I eat and doing the group classes. Then I did start Herbalife. Um, I did that for a couple months and I would say kind of worked. And then I continue with my training. And then what I realized was I needed more. So I wanted, as much as I was taking group classes, a lot of that was cardio. So
Hmm.
I started to, I worked with a guy named Scott from Found Strength and Fitness, which is here in Wilmington.
Hmm.
And he started to weight train me, and I
Hmm.
started to eat instead. Like, instead of just taking, Herbalife is a lot of 2 shakes a day or whatever that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And
We don't, on our side, like, we're not big fans of,
me neither. Me
you
neither.
know, that stuff. Anyway, it's like you can't live your life taking, two
Two
shakes in
shakes a
one
day.
meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, two shakes in a meal. That's not healthy. Now, I say that and I double scoop my shakes, but I need the protein
Right.
aspect instead of just thinking that, like, I'm glad that you kind of went down that journey, because a lot of people look at some of these like things. I put them all in the basket of fad diet,
Yeah,
and
of course.
and I'm like, you have to find like sustainability.
Right.
So it's like you have to find a way to integrate fitness into your lifestyle, or once your life gets a little funky, the easiest thing will go.
Yeah.
So there's a great book called Atomic Habits, and in the book he talks about habit stacking, where you take your habits and you put, what you do already. Oh, I
Right.
do X. Okay, cool. So let me put that right next to that other habit. It makes it a little bit easier. But
Right.
cool. You start training, which is the name of the game, right? And I know back then you definitely weren't driving, because you were driving down, I think, once a week or once every other week to see me on the
Right.
nutrition side 10 years ago. So, but you're not driving an hour and a half down 3 days a week for working out.
Yeah. No, I
I
wasn't that committed yet.
wouldn't expect it. If I have a
I
client in Wilmington, I'm like, find a good guy in that area.
listen. Hey, I have to say I'm shocked sometimes, but I do have one or two clients that make the drive. I say all the time to them, better them than me. I don't
Mhm.
think I would do it, but yeah. I mean, I started the Herbalife, and it just kind of clicked just out of common sense of, realistically, aside from the fact that your body is not made to have to just drink liquids and survive off of that. Your body needs to operate. You need to keep it functioning. So that kind of clicked in my head, as well as the reality was I'm not going to spend 200 and something dollars for shakes every month when there's shakes out there for $50 for the big jumbo, bottle of it. Um,
And you want to eat real food.
and I want to eat real food.
Mhm.
That's just realistic. So I started to kind of teach myself and, just do my own research. And then, like I said, I was working with Scott as he was my trainer. So he was kind of as well coaching me. I almost felt like his little apprentice. So he was teaching me about form and stuff like that. I dropped all of my weight. Lo and behold, I became a trainer. So that's kind of how it
You
was
just
like.
lose weight, and then magically you become a trainer. That's how it works.
I mean, I would say I was always good at fitness. I was always good at training. But when I was heavier, I was scared to go to the gym. I was
Mhm.
scared of, what if I do it wrong and I'm now heavy and people are going to judge me because I'm the quote unquote big girl. So I was terrified to go in a gym and do it, even though I had an idea. My father used to do bodybuilding, so I've always been around it.
Mhm.
And but I questioned myself, and I think a lot of times when you're heavier, there are a lot of women, and kudos to them, that are heavier set and they're confident, but there's also a lot of women who are heavy set and they're not comfortable with the skin that they're in, so they're not confident to do the things that they probably very much know how to do.
Mhm.
So with that, and then like I said, with Scott, he more focused on, let me teach you about form, or let me teach you why you should do it like this, and so you don't injure yourself. So I learned even more, and I just had this extreme interest. And as I was so dedicated in the gym, a lot of people would be like, "Hey, can I come with you?" And
Mhm.
hey, can you work something out? Can we do a group class? So then I started to throw group class. That's where it started. So I started to
Mhm.
throw a group class um, at Scott's gym. He allowed me to throw a group class, and it was always filled with people. It was amazing. It was always filled with people. They loved the way I trained, and then it became, I had one-on-one clients, and it just went from there. I mean, you'll hear a lot of people, I think, that transform, that become trainers. It's not surprising. I think with me, the advantage of, because I've always been a thicker person or struggled with my weight even from when I was a child. I mean, I'm more than 13 pounds, something else is my poor mother. So, uh,
You gotta make sure Mother's Day is good.
yeah,
You know, the
right.
rest of your life, you're like, you paid the price. But I want to switch
Literally.
gears. I want to switch gears. I want to talk a little bit about some of the, we talked about some of the psychological challenges, right? Of being heavier and, being in this space where confidence is not there and not feeling comfortable in your skin. And, what are some of the transformations that you've seen yourself and you're even seeing other people experience when they make that commitment, even before maybe some of their results even drop in. What are you seeing from the self-image, self-value from that space?
I mean, everything goes up, everything becomes positive. I think I do transformations all the time. I like to call myself the transformation goat. GOTAT, you know how they say out
The
there.
greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I work with women and I see them go through the process that I went through. You know, the first day they come in, they're terrified. I wouldn't say terrified. I think they're a little bit less, let me relax because it's a woman trainer, but they're still nervous. I always get oh, I'm just a little nervous. I'm scared literally from day 1 to the end of the week. So, most of them train about 3 days for the week. By the end of the week, they're like, oh, I feel so good, and I slept so good, and yeah, and this and that. And they come in and they're like, oh, my shirt is getting loose. The confidence immediately goes up. And I always tell people, once you start to take control, it's not about perfection, but once you come in there and you start taking control and making the effort to change, you feel empowered on a level that like only you yourself will be able to understand. You feel empowered that you took a step in the right direction. It's not that you're not going to have hiccups. It's not that you're not going to have, moments where you might stumble and fall a little bit, but you have the ability even at that point to get back up. You still get back up and you keep moving and eventually you become consistent. And when you start seeing that, it builds such a level of confidence and happiness. I mean, I see these women come in like, head down and they're nervous. And yeah, and they're talking to me like this, and they're like, "Hey, Cam," and by the next, they're confident, they're happy, and they'll even like, so what I do is I'll sometimes have some of my new people with some of my what I like to call alumni. And alumni doesn't necessarily mean they've been with me for a year or more. It could be that they've been with me for months and they've done those things, they've now progressed. And I see those people now that once struggled 1 month ago say, "Hey, I'll help you. Let me show you how to do it." They're confident. And I think it's one of the most joyful feelings as a trainer that I get to experience is to see people transform on an emotional, mental, and spiritual everything. I mean, it's literally a total transformation.
Cool. And you can just hear the energy and the excitement that you
Yeah,
have as you're serving your community, which is phenomenal. And I know, of course, we've been around for a while now, and there's nothing better. People, you want to get me pumped up and excited, have me talk about the results that people are having. It's almost like it's a pretty phenomenal work. But you're right. Some of the things you see is that confidence, and it translates from outside the gym, so
yeah,
meaning you come in and now because you built this ability within yourself, you can do more at home.
right.
You're more productive at work. You talked about sleep. You're sleeping better. Things that used
Yep,
to ache don't ache as much because your body's healthier. And as you just compound that behavior over time, that's how you see it. It's not about how fast you can lose the weight.
nope,
It's about creating a lifestyle that you can sustain it. And when you can build confidence and fit your clothes better and have more energy and your sleep is better, it's like strong's the new sexy kind of thing, so
yeah,
you really get to be able to live your life at the highest levels, which is really cool. So one last quick thing, because I know you said, you're not a
it's okay.
talker. We got you fired up. You could chat a little bit.
I get excited about my clients.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you went the cardio route when you first started, did the whole group class thing, and then the big transformation was hitting some weights. I
Yeah.
don't hear it often, but I've heard, that, a lot of women are afraid of touching weights and doing weights because they don't want to get bulky. They don't want to look, like a dude. And we know that hormonally women don't have the same amount of
Nope.
testosterone and things like that. So it's not going to happen. At least for most of my clients in their 40s, you don't even have your muscle tissues. None of us are going to build that muscle tissue at that rate to produce that. But talk
Right.
to lifting heavy, and how does it impact you? And what are you seeing? Are you seeing people bulk up in Wilmington, or they're all getting leaner because they're touching the weight a little bit different than just doing cardio only?
So I train my clients and myself doing weights. Weights to me will not only make you drop the weight, but it'll tone you up. And what you have to do, I think there's it's basically like a formula. You can't always just do weights, but you have to do a little bit of hit in between, maybe add a little cardio at the end. But the biggest mistake, or a lot of people love to do, is oh, I just want to do cardio. Like you said, they don't want to bulk up. Well, weights cannot bulk you up. It will not bulk you up as a woman, especially when you have fat to lose. You got to lose that fat. There's so much more into it than I'm just now going to come up and be a She-Hulk. So you're not going to come out and be the Hulk. Like, it's none of those things happen. And all the females that I train, actually I'm located like in Pike Creek in my gym. All the women that I train, none of them come out there and have transformed and look and walk like this, or none of those things happen. It's a
Mhm.
big myth. And they all lift heavy. They come in, they start with lighter weights, or their capacity of what they could do. And as they get stronger, we add heavier and heavier and heavier weights. And I mean, I think it's mind blowing sometimes, because they didn't, one, think they could do that or think they would be able to do that. And two, to see themselves transform and get slimmer and still get tones, and the skin is staying firm. I think one of the things what I love about weights as well is it makes you firm. It's not going to leave you with too much loose skin, whereas cardio burns muscle, too much of it, and now you're ending
Mhm.
up with all this loose skin. So if you're a heavier set woman or man, I would never suggest just run and do a whole bunch of cardio. Like, you're asking for trouble, because now when you drop all this weight, you're like, hey, what do I do with all this excess skin, or how do I do it now? Doesn't mean you won't end up with excess skin, depending on the size or the amount of weight that you lose when you do weights, but your chances are a lot less depending on how you train. So
Absolutely.
I think weights are important. I recommend it. I think people need to stop being shy from it. I do weights. If anybody was ever to check me out on Instagram or my social, or any of my social media, Body Mafia, they would see there's I'm not full of muscles. I don't walk, like a She-Hulk, or and there's no offense to anybody that, if that's what your goal is, you definitely as a woman can get there. But usually most cases, women that you see who are bodybuilders and stuff like that, they're taking a lot of supplements, because like you said, they don't have the same thing as a male to get to that point.
Mm.
There's a lot more into it than they're just lifting heavy and crazy weight. It's more
Mm.
to it. So I
Yeah.
recommend it. I tell women all the time, don't be scared from it. I actually only train, I have free weights. I do just free weights, and I'm a big believer on that. And we just add a little bit of hit or cardio in between, but it's mainly weights. And if you have, like I said, if anybody was to ever check out my social media, Body Mafia, you could see there's no woman, woman up there with big Popeye muscles. It's not happening. So, yeah, I'm big on it.
That's awesome. Well, I super appreciate you coming here, dropping all the wisdom, sharing some of the
Thank you.
things. We got Body Mafia on Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. And it's so cool to see how a transformed life transforms lives.
Yes,
So big
yes.
shout outs to you. And she didn't even mention she had Trini too. As well, but
Yes, I'm an island girl.
yes, she is. Yes, she is. But good stuff. We're proud of you. Keep up the good
Thank
work,
you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
talk to you in a little bit.
All right, take care. Good night, everyone.